Hey guys, Chastity and Greg
Hi.
here, back with another breakdown for Star Trek Discovery, this time with Season 2, Episode 9, Project Daedalus.
Again, spoiler warning, if you haven't watched the episode yet, get out of here, go watch it, and then come on back here. This is a good one.
Alright, let's jump into the recap. First, let's make a note that this episode was directed by Jonathan Frakes, who also directed Despite Yourself and New Eden, two of some of the best episodes of Discovery, I think.
I think they are the best episodes of Discovery, honestly. New Eden looks like a fan favorite at this point, because it really was a send-up to old TNG and all of Trek. And then this one just felt like a solid episode all together, even though the ending itself, which I loved, the final scene, I felt like they could just hit to be continued right then and there.
They really could have.
Which it is still, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. We continue on this trek, and they're like, "Find Project Daedalus." The episode kicks off with Vice Admiral Cornwell sneaking onto the Discovery after Pike informs her of Spock and his concerns about Section 31.
Whatever Section 31 said, it's not prudent to trust them.
Cornwell quickly administers a lie detector test on Spock. Now, she's still hesitant to believe him after showing Pike and crew a video that clearly shows Spock killing 3 people.
Cornwell believes that Admiral Patar and Section 31's control have been compromised. The admirals who run Section 31 have not responded to Cornwell in weeks, and the threat assessment system Control is not accepting her data inputs anymore.
Now, Control is a threat analysis system that relies completely on artificial intelligence.
Because that always goes well.
Yeah. Now, in the episode Point of Light, it was Control that advised Leland that it felt that Ash Tyler would be a strong asset to Section 31. Gee, I wonder where Ash is right now.
Have him confined to his quarters until further notice.
And it was only last week that Georgiou admitted to Leland that she felt that Starfleet relied way too much on computerized threat analysis systems.
In my universe, the artificial intelligence took orders from me, not the other way around.
And then the cherry on top of all this is Cornwell telling them that Admiral Patar shut her out of the system entirely. So, okay.
Suspicious.
Yes, it straight up tells you at the very beginning, here's the enemies, this is what we're doing, and we're going for it right now. I love the setup for this.
Once the red signals appeared, Patar lobbied for Starfleet to turn its decision-making entirely over to Control. So now Disco must go to Section 31's forward operating base to reset Control and arrest Admiral Patar.
Next up, Lieutenant Commander Airiam is going through her memory banks, deleting whatever she deems unnecessary memories.
So we finally learn about Airiam. She used to be a human, and then she had a shuttle accident. We saw her on a beach, and then she tells us that she had a shuttle accident. Yeah, with her fiance. Very tragic.
She has a little bottle of the sand from the beach. Okay, good backstory so far. With that said, she's human, and that leads to something else we're going to talk about a little bit later on. She's a synthetic humanoid,
Human hybrid,
yeah. Okay.
As Tilly says, part robot.
Good thing you're half robot.
Commander Nan becomes suspicious of Airiam. Airiam identifies Nan as a Barzan and makes note of Nan's special equipment that allows her to breathe in their atmosphere.
Immediately, you're like, oh, that thing's coming right off of her face at some point.
It's like, oh, you need that to breathe.
Good
Foreshadowing.
To know. Sweet. Moving on to Spock and Michael for a second. They're still bickering back and forth through a game of 3D chess.
So then Spock brings up Michael's parents' death, and it gets real heated. They're just back and forth, very much driving the knife in, screaming at each other, or as much screaming as two people who were raised on Vulcan can do.
Exactly. At the end of the day, they're just still until Spock decides, you know, he now loves his emotions. So.
Yeah, and he's just gonna smash things.
Oh, no. No.
Really funny scene.
I did laugh at that scene.
Me too.
But at the same time...
Play it again.
Is that something... Is that something you want to see happen
No.
with Spock? Do you want to see Spock going through his emotions like an emo kid?
He should be past this by now. I feel like the time for this has passed. He's already a professional working in Starfleet. And so I think that this phase should have ended while he was in Starfleet.
Why? Why do you need to see him as a young emo? Okay.
I just want peace. I don't want yelling. I want them to work together. They're both incredibly intelligent and they're very impressive people in Starfleet. They just need to work together. Get over it.
It's just one of those days!
Discovery heads over to Section 31's headquarters, and no one from Control answers their hails. And scans show no life forms due to the tech put in place at the time period when the base was a prison. So they come in contact with at least 2 different kinds of mines. They have the ones where Reese says they cut some in the cheese, and then the other one is the blackout mines, which pretty much they have to maneuver in the dark at this point.
And Michael figures out that they need to create randomness and chaos to fool the system. After the crew gets through the mines, they're finally hailed by Admiral Pitar, and they find out that Control is blocking Discovery's communications with Starfleet.
Meanwhile, Spock tells Stamets he shouldn't need the navigation system for the spore drive to make his jumps. In a way, he believes Stamets should make the jumps without training wheels. And since he's given advice pretty much to everyone, or at least even with
Such a
Michael,
know-it-all.
When he's yelling at her, she takes something from that. Oh, Spock told me to do this. And now it looks like it's going to do the same thing with Stamets with Culber as well.
Perhaps he needs distance from you, not because he no longer has feelings for you, but because he no longer knows how to feel about himself.
Why was he paying attention to that, like, at all? Why is that, like, he's so busy thinking about
No, because
the
he's
end
Spock.
of, yeah.
He's Spock, and they got to put him on the show.
I couldn't help but
so
notice
he has to
that
do
you're
something.
having relationship troubles.
He's helping everyone.
Let me tell you,
He's going to help out Tilly in the
It's not
next
you.
episode.
it's him. Then Airiam, Non, and Burnham beam over to Control's data center in AV suits. On the base, they discover the bodies of the real Pitar and 3 other admirals.
And this is when Saru figures out that Section 31's Control frames Spock through holograms. They also found out that Airiam downloaded all of her archived memories onto Disco and replaced them with the data from the sphere. It looks like Control wants all the info on AI so it can evolve and become fully conscious.
Then we have the most tense scene, more than the chess scene, in this episode, is when Michael has to eject Airiam into space.
Yes.
And really doesn't want to.
It's so good.
Nobody wants her to, but it's a really intense, emotional scene.
A little bit of Rathacon in there again with the glass, and the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and you literally have Spock telling her to, like, you gotta do it, you gotta push it, you gotta let her go.
God, her face when she gets ejected.
Project Daedalus! Where's Project?
And before Airiam gets ejected, she tells Michael that she has to find Project Daedalus.
Now, what's Project Daedalus? Let's talk about that in Things We Noticed and Easter eggs.
Oh, one other thing I should mention. The shields will have to be down.
Captain, drop the shields.
So speaking of Project Daedalus, that was actually a study conducted by the British Interplanetary Society during the 70s. Its purpose was to design a plausible unmanned interstellar spacecraft. Its main use was as a scientific probe. It had to use existing or near-future technology. And in Greek mythology, Daedalus was a skillful craftsman and artist and father of Icarus. Daedalus built a labyrinth for the king of Crete and was imprisoned within it by the king to prevent spreading knowledge of its existence. He constructed wings for himself and Icarus to escape the labyrinth. This is a clue! It's a clue!
Yes,
this
it
is
is.
how they make the wings!
Yep.
Project Daedalus leads to making the wings for the Red Angel. It's a clue.
Okay, but who's making those wings?
I don't know.
Admiral Cornwell uses special equipment capable of scanning brainwave patterns to detect whether or not Spock is lying. In the TOS episode Mudd's Women, Kirk uses a lie detector to find Mudd's true intentions. 3D Chess is back again with Spock this time. He knocks it over, but at least he didn't do what Charlie did in TOS.
In one of Airiam's memories, Detmer said she's not playing Caddiscot with Tilly and Airiam anymore because they've memorized every possible gambit. Caddiscot is a board game played on a 6-sided board with 3 sets of colored tiles. The game looks like a variant of Reversi. It appears to be a game of logic and strategy for 2 or more players. The characters Naomi Wildman and Seven of Nine played the game during Voyager after the events of the episode Infinite Regress.
Airiam identifies Non as Barzan. The Barzans are from the planet Barzan 2. The breathing device Non wears provides her with the gases found in the toxic atmosphere of her home world. The other notable Barzan was their leader, Premier Bhavani, seen in the TNG episode The Price. Also, there's the floating blood. There was an apple in there too, but I doubt that has anything to do with Giorgio. It's just there, another apple. But the floating blood reminds me of Star Trek VI, the Gorkon assassination, with all the blood floating in space there.
You have to find Project Daedalus! Where's Project?
Okay, before we get out of here, Red Angel stuff one more time. Next week's episode is titled Red Angel, so I think this is the last time we're going to do this anyways.
Okay.
But is it Airiam? I feel like Airiam has something to do with it at
After
this
this
point.
episode, it really could be. There were a
Yes.
lot of signs pointing to yes. Like, we confirmed in this episode that she used to be human. And just as a theory, I think that we both think that maybe something grabs her while she's floating out in space for a few years and turns her into the Red Angel.
It could be just years and years in space. base, something grabs her, just like we saw the modified probe that attacked the ship and also put that virus in Airiam's head in the first place. Whatever that is, if it's control making Airiam into this thing, who knows? But I feel like the Red Angel is helping them, which makes me think it could be something with Airiam, but it's not the whole story here, because we got to figure out who is building this angel then, if that's the case.
Who is John Connor?
Yes, who is it?
In this story.
With that said, it still could be Amanda.
No, Airiam is such a better solution to this Red Angel thing.
I don't know, it just, with Spock and Michael, because it can't be Michael, because everyone pointed out too last week that it can't be, because how would Michael die and then respond to Spock?
Yeah, true.
So Amanda, maybe something with Airiam in between, but it just seems like it's going to be Amanda somehow, some way, to get Spock and Michael together.
There does need to be a connection to Spock and why Spock was chosen.
I bless you, Michael.
All right. Well, hopefully next week this will be over.
Answers, please.
Please. All right, guys. We'll see you all back here next week for episode 10. And let us know what you thought of this episode in the comment section down below.
And be sure to hit us up on Twitter, too, if you like. I'm at Chastity_V.
I'm at GregFT155.
See you later.
Bye-bye.